Hey guys, I wanted to talk about guilty consciences, and I'm just here thinking about guilty consciousness. I've had to think about it a lot. There's people who try to make me feel guilty and just say the word just to get it in your head, and it's like there's also a video that surfaced. It's like this millionaire billionaire who he talks about being sorry. People who are sorry. If you're somebody who's sorry, the video said, the dude, I forgot. The video said, the dude said that you can't feel sorry for people who are sorry. And I get that, because somebody who's sorry is somebody who feels like they need to learn. Somebody who, they make you feel okay about, you know, making them feel bad, you making them feel bad because you're telling them they need to learn something. And that's why they're sorry. Because, sometimes if you knew better, you would do better. Yeah, just being sorry is like a guilty conscience. Having, if you're instantly sorry for things and you don't hold it back, it's because like you kind of have a guilty conscience. And so, you did something wrong and you need to learn and work on it. So, that's my thought on guilty consciousness. I don't have anything to be guilty about myself, like have a guilty conscience and be sorry too much. And, for anybody, you know, there's always something to learn at the same time. Education never ends, supposedly. But, at the same time, it can be a disease to know everything, to know a lot, because sometimes the less you know, the better, but sometimes the more you know, the better too. So, you know, um, being sorry on the spot and having a guilty conscience is like you haven't learned, and you did something you weren't supposed to do, and it kind of eats you up. So, yeah, I think about that video and my experience and how people have made me feel, how people just say it, and it hits my eardrums, and it's like, huh, like I don't have anything to have a guilty conscience for. If I have to learn, I'm not sorry, even though I have to, because I know, you know it's not anybody's fault. I haven't been taught. I don't want to blame anybody for not knowing certain things. It's just we're all on a different path. And so, you know eh, being sorry, I try my best every day to be aware of what's in front of me and not speak too loudly on anybody's situation who I may not know, because you don't really know somebody unless you live with them day by day. You see how they treat others, you see how they treat themselves, they talk to themselves. It's like, you can tell somebody's character by how they treat a waiter at a restaurant, waitresses. And so, you can't really trust anybody unless you know how they treat others. And, usually the way we treat others is how we treat ourselves. So, that's how you can tell guilty conscience too, I guess. Sometimes is somebody feels really bad, or, how they treat themselves, how they talk to yourself, Usually people who are depressed and they feel like they haven't done enough, they're easily sorry, and they're not afraid to be sorry too. They're not afraid to be sorry. They know that they can have a more open mind, um because I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, because they talk to themselves bad. They talk to themselves in awful manners. So, it's like even complaining about things, and you know um it you can tell when somebody complains too much on their own, or how, the level of their complacentment, when they just complain about things in front of you and they're comfortable to complain in front of you. You can tell a person. And it's not always bad to be complacent. It's just, you can tell, you know how somebody talks to themselves is the way they talk to others. And being unpleased, you know that's a whole everybody has their own reasons to treat others the way they do and be when they're unpleased. You know, some people just don't have control, so they just blurt out, you know, what a person should know, like, hey, you should know better, da da da. And you know, I just saw a video about this mom who was like telling these cops about the law because they were arresting his son, and you know, she wasn't holding back, and it was for a good reason. It's like mama bear, you know, looking out for her son and not letting these cops be unlawful. And so you know, she wasn't really guilty about it. She didn't feel too guilty, even though it's her son there being questioned. You know, she was making sure things were being done right. And so, you know, again, it's like learning. She knew her rights. She knew her rights. And rights is a whole nother thing. You know, having rights, it's like you can be free but then have like a criminal past, and you may think you're free now, but really you know, you don't have as much rights as others. You might have, you know, restrictions to what you can do, limits and boundaries. You're not the same after you've been persecuted and uh and uh, and and hammered down as guilty. So it's like rights, you know, rights don't have to do with anything physical. It's really if you have good intentions, you know, uh, you have the right to do certain things, like help others, and and make other people feel guilty, because you know, if you're not doing any better, you don't have a right to make others feel worse. And so, because you don't have that right to tell others what they should know, you know, it's like not being balanced. You're telling others how to feel, you know, to feel guilty and have a guilty conscience when you live with one every day. It's like you're not balanced. You know, you're just going off of your feelings, what you see, how you see a person, but then you think later, you know, you might think later, oh, you know, I don't have a right to be talking all this shit. That person does way better than me. Like, you know, so, um, uh, yeah, you know, having a guilty conscience has a lot to do with rights as well. You know, what you have the right to do. You know, sometimes people who are sorry, they should be sorry, because you know, they need to learn. They kind of need to be different, and not treat others, you know, think about how they treat themselves before they treat others that same way, kind of thing. And so, yeah, just wanted to speak my mind and how I see things.